If you have all of this proof, come show it in a court of law. That's what we do in this country.
Why is Trump insisting that he can just...
This is murder under both international and U.S. domestic law.
I want to hop into a CNN panel discussing some of the Trump administration's boat strikes on possible civilian targets in the Caribbean, with the count up to now 9 boats being struck by the US. So take a moment, leave us a like on the video if you can. It helps us out a ton. We really appreciate it. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. You guys help us out a ton, and let's hop right in.
The Constitution says Congress gets to declare war and peace, and he does not have the legal authority to do this. But even beyond that, this is murder under both international and U.S. domestic law. If you have all of this proof, come show it in a court of law. That's what we do in this country. I represent San Diego, a border community. We've got the land border, we've got the Coast Guard interdicting drug crimes all the time. And there's a process, and that's not just what they do outside, like right off the coast of the United States. It's what they do in the Red Sea when they're trying to get Iranian stuff being smuggled to the Houthis, right? Like, there is a process for what you do. You board the ship, you collect evidence, not to mention the fact that you actually want to bring these guys in and prosecute them.
And it should be noted, Colombia has said on record at least one of the boats were theirs and that civilians were in fact on it. This is supposed to be the pro-peace, the Nobel Peace Prize deserving president, guys, preemptively striking possible civilian targets without evidence warring it, without justification, even if they were the targets he's saying they were, and against international and domestic law, even if they were the targets he's saying they were, where he is only claiming to expand these attacks, and he's going to do so without declaring war because, you know, killing people is metal, so he's just allowed to do it. We covered him saying we'd go. So seemingly sending troops there, putting our sons and daughters on the ground is an option, and it's all for nothing, as Venezuela isn't even a major player in the drug trade, but we're just doing murder to like flex our guns, I guess, possibly what, because the Colombian president isn't a Trump fan? Like, who knows at this point why Trump does what he does.
Why is Trump insisting that he can just kill people, whether by land or sea, without proving that they are even who they say
well, I think
they
this power
say they
to
are?
protect our country is a power that presidents have exercised back to the very beginning of our country. And I had a law enforcement official tell me that on one of these drug boats, the amount of fentanyl or cocaine has the ability to kill 30,000 Americans. If you have
Great, then
if
bring
you have
it
a
to
missile
a court
that is
of
coming,
law and
if you had a
prove it.
missile that was coming to the United States that had the potential to kill 30,000 people, I think the president
Yeah,
was well
but you
within his
haven't
authority
even started.
to stop that boat.
The basic level of proof is that boat actually carrying fentanyl? Let me play what Rand Paul said about that very issue.
When you kill someone, you should know, if you're not at war, not in a declared war, you really need to know someone's name at least. You have to accuse them of something.
I think it should be noted here that 25% of the time that the Coast Guard boards a ship or boat that they suspect of drug trafficking, that they find no drugs. So to believe that each and every one of these strikes have been done with complete accuracy, despite us knowing about none of the people or any of the contents on the boat, is kind of insane. It shouldn't also be glossed over how, like, after the first attack, Trump went out of his way to have the people involved try to cover up the fact that they did it. But I'm also just appalled by the fact that the MAGA clowns, who were just so upset that the president could even possibly send Ukraine aid, even though it was congressionally approved, because that's warmongering, you know, have none of the same vitriol for Trump sidestepping Congress to do this, an actual attack of warmongering, right? It's like almost that they're just Russian puppets, and what they were mad about is that Russia, like the people fighting Russia, were getting weapons. But this is insanity. And again, even if these were drug traffickers, like the idea that the president and the president alone gets to play judge, jury, and executioner with their life as they're off the coast of a sovereign country is insane, guys.
We're also interdicting, I shouldn't even say interdicting, we are bombing ships that are not even apparently headed to the United States. So again, I mean, I take your point about stopping drugs coming to this country, but don't you have to, A, prove that there are drugs and actually know that they are coming to this country?
I haven't seen any evidence that suggests that the president and the military were mistaken.
That's because we haven't seen any evidence.
Okay, but listen, I trust our military.
There's no evidence at all, one way or there's no evidence at all
to protect our country, and they know where these drugs are going. They may not be directly headed toward our country.
Have you seen any evidence at all about any of this? Like,
Listen, I
Who
trust.
are these people?
I trust our
What
military
drugs were they carrying?
and our
Where were
executive
the
branch
boats
and our law
heading?
enforcement officials to make sure that they're protecting our country.
I mean, the Republican can't even say that he has evidence or seen evidence to support this because there is none, and he knows it would be a bold-faced lie. MAGA so quickly went from, we can't have a president sending aid to our allies because it'll start a war, to we must trust our president no matter what, even when he's preemptively bombing fishing boats with no evidence that might have civilians on them, bombing boats that aren't even coming to America, and bombing boats, again, that other countries have said that their civilians were on. But of course, that country's just lying. They're doing fake news. They're woke or whatever. They're just in with the conspiracy with all Democrats, all media, all AG, all judges, all whatever, you know? So let's just trust Trump and his word over what everybody else involved in the situation is saying. The whole thing to me is kind of crazy. And I do have to say, like, it will come back to bite us, like in all seriousness. This sort of recklessness, this sort of insane behavior is what preempted 9/11. And if Trump thinks we're invincible or untouchable now, like, I just pray to God that he's right.